once time.
हैं हाँ
So I think yeah, we know how to play it. So
नहीं
let's try
यार
our best. Let's do everything is needed to qualify.
I like that. That's good perspective. So when you think
hello
bigger
भाई जय
picture
श्री
here
कृष्ण
for a
और
moment as
वेलकम
well,
बैक another
does
live
it feel
stream
to you
कैसे
like
हो
the
भाई
rest of the world caught up?
जो भी स्ट्रीम पर लाइक और सब्सक्राइब कर देना और आज फॉर द वेरी फर्स्ट टाइम आई एम डूइंग वॉच पार्टी सो आई होप यू एंजॉय ठीक है और आओ यार देखते हैं कैसे जाता है पहली बार है जो भी स्ट्रीम पे आता जाए भाई लाइक और सब्सक्राइब कर देना मेक श्योर किस पे फेस कैम पता नहीं ये हाँ ग्रीन स्क्रीन कर लो यार ये तो ऐसी रहेगी शायद अच्छा हम्म ठीक है अब ठीक है है
They weren't able to fight that they were in. They did go for these fights, but it looks like that power just kind of slipped away from them.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Well, I mean, coming off the back of that interview, they were talking about how no one wants to
Voice
hide,
double
everyone
तो
wants
नहीं
to
हो
fight. I genuinely
सही आ
think
रही है ना
that, yeah, the battleground has changed at this point. I had a really fantastic conversation with Aru. I think you were there as well, Seven. We were discussing essentially like how is your game plan to finals going to change, but it's pertinent to this because he was saying essentially that what we want to do going forward is be a bit more aggressive. I mean, the Ronda they won, if they hadn't taken an aggressive approach up towards the northern side, they might have lost a flash there. But I think every single team is realizing we can't be passive in these lobbies. Any opportunity that comes up, we have to take it. And you've got minimal amount of time to make this happen now in the survival stage, Max.
I mean, really looking at Alpha 7, there's so much potential on that roster, right? Guizao and Oscar, they've really, truly been tested many times. They won PMGC, they played PMGO, they know what's going to be coming up here into this one. But I think in particular, what I want to see from Alpha 7 is, of course, going to be aggressive, as you were talking about here, Blank. But I would say the biggest issue I have is when they don't have the zone, they really struggle to get into the play zone itself, into those mid to late game circles. The scouting is just not there sometimes, and have a better time entering the play zone because that's really been their biggest struggle.
I'll take one of them. I'll take one of them. But yeah, I think it's a great point to bring up because I think Alpha 7 definitely feels on the back foot when they're not in control of their own game. I think for instance, 7.
Yep.
Their game on North George, oh my God, once they had that building, they were looking fantastic there because they were able to play their own game.
They dropped there.
Exactly.
They do drop there.
They drop.
That's the crazy thing with this team too, is when they're able to set themselves up, they're a team that can actually take full advantage of the situation and just back it up with full eliminations. Earlier, Max, you were talking about the roster, and I'm glad you kind of brought that up because there is going to be a big change today for the roster. Obscure, when we got a chance to see, and if you actually can, Tamaj, pull up the player stats once again for me from Alpha 7, because you will notice that Obscure ended up being with the least amount of eliminations. and he is going to be sitting out.
कौन
They're
सी
going to be
team
bringing
domination
in a
खेलने वाली
brand
है
new
यार अब
player. Mots, we
रुको
actually got a
बताता हूँ
chance to
पहले
see
मैं
him
देख
play
लेता हूँ कौन
4
कौन सी team
games
खेल
in their
रही है
last day of group stages. He's going to be
हैं
coming in, and he's going to be having to fill in those
क्या कह
shoes.
रहा है
It's going to be interesting to see because he doesn't have that group stage experience. So how is that new player going to change your whole team dynamic, Blank? It's going to be interesting.
The fourth player Alpha 7 meat grinder continues. This is so sad.
Squash 2.0, Petrino 3.0, McGrelin 4.0. Who's the next one on the line? But right now, an extra player, it's really hard to analyze. Yeah, it does sometimes help, but like it's hard to analyze realistically because we just don't know how that synergy is going to work out. I don't expect the eye-gelling to change whatsoever. I think that's Carrior just going to go with the same playstyle. But with that extra player, will it work as well or will it get worse? Genuinely, that's a big question mark. No idea how Alpha 7 is going to do with that change.
Yeah, Layson, usually with Alpha 7, we kind of joke around about that fourth player because they do end up switching rosters where things aren't going right. With this one, something that we have seen it happen in the past too with Alpha 7 new players is they get a little bit too over-aggressive. They tend to overextend because they want to show up because the pressure is there for them, considering that Alpha 7 has won PMWC and PMGC. That pressure might end up getting to him, and he might have to compensate for that too for the new player.
Yeah, but the thing is that, like, I like that they're making these aggressive plays, but they aren't actually, like Max just pointed on, scouting to be able to make these aggressive plays. So if they can just have that ability to sort of make sure that they've cleared their back because they are sort of focusing more on that edge, except for that match 10 where they dropped there and they stayed there, if they can be able to play that scouting power a little bit more, I do think even having a new player on this roster, it's going to be a lot better. You know, sometimes you're just going to add a little bit of new flavor into the mix and great things can happen.
Yeah, I'm usually very against those kind of switches, but with the way that this squad is currently playing, with the way that they've been playing in 2026, which if I actually wanted to, I'm not going to say it, I'm glad that we are going to be getting a change out of them. And actually, Blank, give the microphone to Max, because one team that I know Max wants to talk about is none other than non-sim Red Force. And Max, this was a squad that we thought, with the way that they were playing, that they were going to be already in the finals. It didn't end up happening.
Take the mic back. No, Nongshim Red Force, they showed on their first opening day of their group, right, so much promise, so much potential. They were towards the top ranks for the longest time, right, Blank? But then I feel like the biggest issue for them going into the second day of their group is they started being like, we just want to remain in the top 5, and they decided to play a little bit more passive. One game in particular that I go back to is the Ida chicken dinner in the fields, right, just outside of Longwood, and they could have crashed Ida's compound in the mid game, but they decide instead to go in like some dips in the field, very passive, not committing to big plays. That's what makes Nongshim Red Force in my opinion. So I hope they go back to form if they want to make it in that top 6.
Well, you come to these international tournaments, right, and this is the problem, is that a lot of people trying to change up their play style. I think Nongshim Red Force within their own region, they can really excel with that, but you're sort of not sure when to play aggro, when to pull it back a little bit. Versus Ida, that was tough, but it really reminds me of Game 3 from them on Erangel. I think it was day 1, I believe, that they won. That was a fantastic game. It was a really good game, but even they realized it was a little bit slow, it's a little bit passive, and that's fine, but I still think they were quite proactive in that situation. But it really does just speak to the way they want to play it out. It is too slow. We need aggression, Lace.
Do not stress, Max. I am wholeheartedly believe that they'll be in that top 6.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh,
I've got that. You know, he was like, give me that good juju, and I've got it for you, because they were 24 points ahead of Alpha 7, and like just a little bit under E Arena. They actually have the ability to do so. So don't stress, Max.
Thank you
I got you, buddy.
Hey Max, Hyunbin has actually been putting up the numbers. He's the man that has been performing the best out of the squad so far. Hopefully that's going to continue on here in Survival Stage. For all these teams, they have been able already to play 12 matches at PMWC, at EWC 26. They have now gotten a day off in yesterday to go back and VOD review. We're going to be seeing what kind of changes these teams have made, if they have enough to make it to the grand finals and be in the top 6, because this is Survival Stage.
So finally भाई स्टार्ट हो चुका है. क्या कर रहे हैं? फिर हाँ हाँ है क्या बात कर रहा है
16
Bada
teams live to fight another day, but now there are no safety nets, there are no second chances. Now you have to bring your A game or your key will be sent to the graveyard.
Yeah, some came close making it in the finals, others came close to elimination, but today is survival stage, so the points are reset, and basically, Bunny, anything can happen.
One mistake could send months of preparation out the window. However, one moment of brilliance could keep the dream alive.
Yeah, indeed, Bunny. I can see them. They are ready. So it is time to welcome our team on the stage. Starting with GK ESPORTS.
Dopeness!
Team RRQ.
Wolves Esports.
अच्छा वोल्फ 5 से बाहर हो गई थी ना वोल्फ बाहर हो गई थी ना टॉप 5 से बाहर थी ना वोल्फ हाँ
Al Hula Club Esports.
Seven to 1 GS Esports.
Furia.
Alpha 7.
Go team.
Nongshim Red Force.
AGL.
E.
Wolf Esports.
And finally, your defending champions of PMWC, Yangon Galacticos!
BGMS BMPS
Today, you won't survive by hiding. Fight smarter, adapt faster, and deliver when the pressure is at its peak. That is what it takes to keep this dream alive.
The group stage is behind us. Now a new fight begins. Welcome to the survival stage of the PMWC at EWC 2026 in Paris.
We've got to make a couple more spots available. That is for our survival stage teams, joining some of the best teams in the world.
Nongshim Red Force!
그룹 스테이지에서 충분히 몸을 풀었고 이제 우리가 살아남기 위해 어떻게 하는지 모두에게 보여주겠습니다.
Não tem mais chances de errar. A gente vai dar o nosso melhor no Survival Stage para passar para a final.
Go team!
Biz grup etapda ko'rsatdik nimaga qodirligimizni. 2 marta toplar olib, SurvivalStage'da ham harakat qilamiz finalga uchun.
Arena!
พวกเรารู้ดีครับว่ามีอะไรเป็นเดิมพันถ้าพวกเราอยากจะเข้าสู่รอบแกรนด์ไฟนอลพวกเราจะต้องทำตอนนี้ให้ดีที่สุดครับ
It is time to see who will rise above the rest and continue their journey in the PMWC.
Na repescagem ficaram muitos times fortes, times que eu respeito muito. Só que a gente está trabalhando muito, treinando muito para passar para a grande final.
will pick themselves up a win, a real turnaround today.
Biz PMWC turniriga prosta kelganimiz yo'q. Eng yaxshi o'yinlarni ko'rsatish uchun kelganmiz. Позиция klassida degan bitta.
Killer Dome gets it done, and that is Go Team with another chicken dinner.
ก็ในแผนที่นันโดพวกเราก็ทำให้ทุกคนเห็นนะครับส่วนแผนที่อื่นๆพวกผมก็ทำให้ทุกคนเห็นครับเพราะพวกผมก็ทำได้ในทุกแผนที่ครับผม
Thailand makes a stand here at EWC.
우리는 몇몇 팀을 얕봤지 다시는 같은 실수를 하지 않을 것입니다.
Rian bhai bahar thi na? Rian bhai
Para os adversários quero
bahar thi
desejar
na?
boa sorte.
Ai hogi yahan?
Se eles estão aqui é porque merecem, igual que a gente. E é isso.
저희를 교전으로 상대하실 때 긴장하셔야 될 겁니다.
Let's find out who has what it takes.
Hai?
I think it's the survival stage because, oh my goodness, that is
Koi baat
stacked
nahi.
as hell.
Welcome to the survival stage. We are getting straight on into it. 10 teams have already booked their tickets directly to those grand finals. We need to find 6 more. How are we going to do that, Jackie?
Over the course of the next 2 days, John, we're going to start to whittle down the list, see who's able to, of course, keep themselves fighting, make it through to our finals, and who does go home. Like we said on the stage, right, no more safety nets, no more backup plans. You either do it or you're gone.
Yeah, absolutely. There is no chance beyond this one. And there's plenty of teams looking to try and resurge, get a little bit more momentum back from those group stages where they were pushed back down behind that bubble. I mean, E-Arena coming on through with such a great opener and then really petering off over the course of their games, as well as defending champions. Yangon Galacticos still not quite finding their feet within the lobby. Maybe things will change without the presence of those teams at the top, and they could have a chance to get a back-to-back PMWC title, because of course from their previous one they have their champion Ancient Charm set. Make sure that you guys are joining in with the PMWC event in game and redeem your perk vouchers so that you can get that Ancient Charm set and have a great time looking that good.
Yeah, it is a beautiful outfit to have as well. It looked amazing in person when we saw them come out a couple of days ago back during the start of the group stage. Right, we're going to see them live in the flesh with the rendition of the outfit they had. It looked great. Cultural heritage as well tied into it, so a lot of storylines there with what they've achieved. But that's the fact. That's now in the past, right? Like you say, it's to do it again. It's going to be worst case scenarios. You come back here, you slip into survival stage. Yes, you still have a chance, but they want to push for finals at a bare minimum.
Yeah, absolutely. There are plenty of teams who are looking to do that. Alpha 7 probably the most notable of those names in and amongst it. They're the only team in the world, the only organization that has got the full three-peat of titles, the PMGO, PMWC, and PMGC. The fact that they went out so early in the PMGO earlier this year is pretty devastating. So hopefully Alpha 7 will be able to find one of those 6 spots, and we'll see those drums as well in the finals.
But yeah, you will. You'll be hearing it for the viewers at home, absolutely. Bring a lot of support behind them. We saw obviously the big game that they took back in their group stage to at least give themselves a nice influx of points to guarantee survival stage, not be down in the risky areas. I'd say mechanically they've looked good, John. It's just not been an easy run for them whatsoever. There's been not much luck on their side in terms of the circles we've had, the games they've had played. They really had to fight tooth or nail to get in. Now obviously it's a matter of can they elevate that even further.
Yeah, keep on pushing, keep on going. Plenty of power from Brazil. Plenty of players looking to try and make their mark. All of those keys lined up around the Crusher. You see the team logos sat upon them, right on the precipice of getting crushed, going into the fated jaws of demise. Can't dance your way out of that one.
You can't. It would have to be an unreal samba to avoid the Crusher. I'm sure Barney would catch you either way. That seems like it's enough for us. We'll start to get our engines revving and slip into this one. Obviously opening it up on Rondo. I suppose it's a matter of what sort of flavor do you think we're going to get out of this, John? Obviously, you think teams are just going to take this in their stride, instantly go into Rondo headstrong, see if they can just sort of bully the lobby early?
Well, I mean, we saw that happen before, and it wasn't quite enough, right? Obviously, the E-Arena chicken dinner being so massive, you do need to keep going beyond it. Sure, you can get these early hot drop scenarios, and I'm expecting most teams will do, be jumping straight in onto Neox Factory and trying to get stuck in and amongst it, grab as many points early as you can with those recall towers in action for Rondo exclusively on our esports rotation. But I'm also interested in who's going to be able to secure some of the ground around this one, because I feel like, you know, top 6 is maybe not as difficult as it has been in those group stages, right? When you remove the top 10 teams from the lobby, it opens up a lot of opportunity for teams that were maybe suppressed by the presence of those truly really strong and on form teams, because there are obviously strong teams that weren't on form, that didn't make it. But there's no longer that suppressive force. It's not as constricted. So hopefully we'll see teams start to find their feet, start to be able to breathe a little bit, get some life back into the blood.
I've turned you up in my ears already, John, because I can already hear the Alpha 7 fans starting to get a little bit excited. I know how today's going to go. They're going to really bring that energy early, see if they can get the squad locked in and bring in their best. I think you touched on some nice points there, though, man, where maybe it's going to be at a different landscape here with the teams we've removed, right? Obviously, some of them hard cut from the tournament. We saw those keys already destroyed. But for the others that remain, this is your chance to get back into it. We've got the playing path on screen now. We'll see what our circle's looking like and begin to dissect this one.
Yeah, Yulin will be the hot drop target with the playing path out on the west side instead of Neox Factory. It's a little bit too far afield to really get stuck in. So, straight on board, we're with AGAL, E-Arena, who have got that outpost in Mormon up towards Stadium. Looking like they're not going to have the better end of the stick on this first engagement. Tony K going down. XZZ wants to find another with a pump action. Jump wide with a micro Uzi, though. And a Tommy gun to back it up. 2 for 2. And Maple now as a solo position for AGAL. Has to try and hold his nerve against the 2 from the arena, but they are both very low, Jackie.
Yeah, they really are. A lot of damage done to either side here, obviously hoping to see if you can pick pieces together. If they can close out on this and get the next 2 elims off the back of it, it'd be huge for AGAL. That's a nice react. Maple swift with the SMG up close. Schweppes trying to tuck in and get himself top back up on the old HP as well. Maple's got the 1 nade, John.
He pulled the pin earlier, and that was what prompted the push forwards. Joker unlikely to be getting back up here. Swaps out for a sniper in close range. I mean, sniper's as good as a shotgun if you hit the shot, but will he be able to do it? Running low on ammo, desperately searching for these weapons now. Still, just the smoke here, and I think this fight might be isolated. Both teams will be able to get these recalls, remember. These points are starting to come through thick and fast. It looks like Yangon Galacticos have got 3, Goat with 3, Maple with a shotgun now as we're back on with the fight.
Maple baiting it on a pre-fire towards the window. Schweppes with a lean in. Quick opportunity to stim whilst the rest of the lobby are scrapping amongst each other. Rapid looting from Schweppes, needs the ammunition to fight with. They get visual on one another. Maple's going to be swung to the left right now. He's been poising himself nicely, but the angle's not going to work, and Schweppes does get it done.
Hey, Schweppes is the only player in this tournament with a chance to get a triple PMWC title, and there he was showing a little bit of that power of old. We'll see if he can bring E-Arena to the forefront, because they are up on 3 elims, but there is so much on the tables already. Look how many players have scored one. Tiamba wants to try and take him down. They heard this one. They move on through, and Tiamba want to take that 3 elim title as well. We now have 6 teams with 3 elims.
Yeah, we missed out on the GOAT fight off the back of the draft. That was up against KRX, I believe, and they did great work on that, finding themselves the 3 elims and leaving it down to 1 player to attempt to recover them. Weird thing is about GOAT team, John, usually in our regular rotation, it feels like they're super good at playing it slow with the long rotates around the outer edges. Rondo, they love a scrap. They've got the talent for it. We see 1 knock here onto Foops, but Ketch can't flush it, as they will have to lock in for this one. Force up close and personal. Scarface over the top side, downs him.
Okay, keep it 2 on the spot as well for Ulf. They do have Kelsey off in the distance, so would be fine. Well, not fine, but it would be okay if Scarface had gone down in that scenario. But to hold his nerve is brilliant. Means he can get in and maybe get a couple more points. Look for the confirm onto Foopsman, but it's not going to work. Not on the first peak. Killer Joe has to hit the back, but without a helmet, those headshots are going to ring mightily in the ears if they're able to land. Dropping the smoke. Keeping the power. Has still got another smoke behind and some more meds, but it's not going to matter. Killer Joe puts him down. So Ulf recall further up to the north with the circle throwing out that way too. We're on board with Alpha 7 now.
Yeah, A7 coming in swift. Good damage done onto QZZ here, trying to keep Tiamba down. Make it uncomfortable on the peak. Awkward pixel angle. Can't quite thread the needle with it. Milu wrapping over to assist as Guizao does get aggro. Good moves on the peak, but that was swift.
Straight past that windowsill and in with the shotgun shells. Alpha 7 get dismantled by Milu. What a pullout for Tiamba, able to just swing past that entire fight. Alpha 7 do have that outpost and can go for the recall. Teams are starting to outstrip each other on these elim counts, but Tiamba on 6 elims. GOAT team as well, getting those 6 on board is a great start for them. Looking to start transitioning now into the mid-game, get up north, because the circle is quite dramatic up there. A lot of it is cut off by that river, and the crossings are not as easy as on other maps.
Yeah, that was the thing. We didn't quite catch it, right? Obviously going from that very southern sort of playing path we had into a hard northern shift on the circle. A lot of teams can have a big rotate here. We'll see if it comes back to bite some of our squads that would prefer to be set up a little bit earlier.
Furia looking to get out of Yulin towards that north side. GK have already sent out and that away from it as well. Goodness me. Everyone is still alive, and that is very lucky, Jackie. That is incredibly lucky. And if you guys want to be lucky at home, you can hit that lucky spin. Make sure you're jumping into the game for your chance to draw that exclusive 2026 PMWC tournament set. It's looking nice, it's looking shiny, it's looking fresh.
Is indeed. It's like a Barney Banks outfit. You'd catch him wearing that one.
I've seen him. He definitely would.
Maybe we can get it
sorted for the finals. I bet we can. I bet we can.
Maybe. Would reinforce the leg seams, make sure that he's nice and comfortable out on the stage. But we'll see, John. We'll come back to that one at another time. RRQ on the move as well there. Obviously, a roster that felt like at times they had some good sort of approach to a few of the fights we saw. Maybe a little bit more paralysis by analysis in a few of the situations, though, right? We want to be slightly more cutthroat. I suppose that is the name of the game for all the squads we've got in survival stage, but I think that resonates with them as well.
Yeah, for RRQ, I mean, they do have a standout performance in terms of Lepar, definitely on point when it comes to getting in those clutch situations, making it work, and to an extent, he's the reason why RRQ were able to get in towards these survival stages. But they do need to be more cohesive, more together and fluid in those fights. Hopefully, they can play off one another a little bit better here. Looks like, oh, we might see an Elim that may well stick, as GK do have one of their players taken down, and GK are all around Alpha 7 and E Arena, so it could be a little bit difficult to get to one of those recall towers, even though they are still fairly available. I mean, you've got Ryan that is completely unoccupied. You've got Kunxia up on that northeast side as well. So there are accessible positions, but those will start to get more closed in as teams move in. I mean, we've got Yangon Galacticos, who are on board with right now, moving past Meiran, with Goat Team on their west and Al-Ula are quite far to their south. Ahead of them, though, it's the Wolves, who have managed to get up to Heme Town, up on that northeast side, fairly swiftly and without too much trouble.
So replays here of the early fights. Obviously, Yangon getting a far better start. 3 elims there. Nice to see for the squad. Again, so much more pressure on your shoulders, right? It's all the added pedantry as well, having to come out bringing the trophy twice now. It feels like all the other squads you're playing against, all eyes on you. If you can't do your organization justice, and for yourself as well, those memories of last year probably flashing before your eyes, John. You're back at the hotel. You know they need to show up here in survival.
Next circle goes quite far west here. I mean, this is a good opportunity for the Arena to get into a solid spot. They're already on the north side of this river. The crossings, that I said, can be a little bit more treacherous than on a lot of other maps when you have similar divides over water. So hopefully they can start to establish. Do they keep this 2-2, or do they regroup over towards a more centralized and coherent position? I feel like they still have a little bit of time to do that, so they may want to try and stay out in the open for a little bit, but within the next minute or so, they will need to regroup. Yangon Galacticos able to find a player from Kiwon DRX, and yeah, very nice pickup there. 4 elims now for Yangon, although they did lose Say Cloud in the process, so a 1-for-1 trade. And as I said before, the recall towers are still open, but from this point on, it's going to get harder and harder to access them, Jackie, because the blue zone will start to cut off quite a lot of them, the rotates won't be there, and teams will be on top of them already.
Yeah, you lose that availability. Makes it far harder to weigh up the decision making if it's worth attempting to go for it. So we'll see if that plays too much of a vital role for these squads as this one develops. Obviously, KRX had a bit of an unfortunate start off the drop as well. Went down to the 1 solo that was offset for the recall.
Yeah, last time
they got back up, but only 1 elim point to their name at this point. They are able to safely get Say Cloud back into the action though on their wrap. So they're going to be all right with that. Is he going to be caught by the Wolves though? Dropping back in right now, they're both going to have to advance obviously outside of blue. Not going to be doing too much damage right now, John. So maybe they can avoid each other.
I don't think that Wolves would commit to go for the player on the parachute. They should know that there is a team to their south. Sure, that would be an indicator that someone has just recalled there. But given that it was only 1 player dropping down, you're fairly certain that it's a full 3 squad already on the ground. Committing to that fight for Wolves in their position right now, I think is a little bit too much of a risk. And they weren't really in position to get the player on the way down already. But Yangon Galacticos have other ideas. They have just crossed swords and taken a knock over to the Wolves.
Yeah, I guess Wolves didn't want to engage, but Yangon said, you know what, if you're here, we might as well try and get some points. Put some warning shots their way. Don't necessarily need to commit onto the fight. Just get a couple and get out. Or, hey, maybe actually just scrap the whole squad. Romeo's back in for more.
Yeah, they were able to find that flush, and they're immediately across the bridges around Muhopan on that north side. And potentially looking to guard the Wolves out here and stop them from getting to a recall tower closer to the zone. It will start to hurt a little bit too much for the Wolves' liking if they don't get through quickly. And the northern pair for Yangon Galacticos is going to send out and maybe look to control that recall tower on the north side.
This is nice, actually, with how they've been playing it. Cloud was able to safely get himself a vehicle as well, join the rest of the squad. You can see where they're repositioning to right now, like you say, being in a good position to swarm effectively all angles towards that recall. If Wolves come up to it, they could catch them.
Okay, the circle's on the north side as well, so pretty important to get a position up on that north edge. As I said before, E-Arena now in a very commanding position, and maybe Rondo's their map, who knows. They haven't managed to get a huge number of elims early on, but then again, they didn't when they were in their stadium chicken dinner either. They have already got 4 as well, which, as I said, not huge, but still pretty significant. Ryan, having that recall tower in and available for the next about 4 minutes or so is also going to be quite important for the teams on the north side, as Yangon Galacticos trying to corral the Wolves against them. But the north side is going to get more and more packed, so Yangon Galacticos taking a bit of a risk here to try and make that fight work, to try and hold this one out. They are losing time, losing tempo to get towards the zone.
Yeah, investing a lot into this now. At a certain point, it becomes a matter of cutting your losses. In the downtime amongst that conversation as well, we saw Alpha 7 actually go down to a duo. Thankfully, they've got one of their players back up. The other not so lucky yet. That was this encounter versus Nonshin Red Force. A side that's surprisingly powerful when they're feeling confident. Ravo out of the running already, John. Shot at the back of the vehicle on the exit. Not ideal.
No, and it's very difficult now to get to a recall tower. There is one to their northwest. They might try and break for it, but Nongshim, I think, have read into that and have moved 2 of their players out towards it as well. For Alpha 7, it feels like a 3-play on. And I don't think they're going to be able to go for it. Ulf have got 2 of their players right behind this ridgeline as well. The backstop 2 for Ulf, Ketch and Kelsey, have yet to cross by Stadium, but it seems like with Nongshim Red Force on the move, they can just get gone. Wolves do manage to move all the way over on the north side of Yangon Galacticos. And Goats even now going to bear the brunt of the aggression from the defending champions.
Yeah, didn't expect this one. Goat, they were quite far back towards KRX's position, but they've wrapped up towards the northern side, got stuck into Yangon. Already been able to knock out 1 player from the squad, leaving them with a triple threat. Yangon actually doing pretty good work here, right? Coming out tied in first place between 3 other squads, and Tiamba and Goat, the squad they're head-to-head with here in the fight. So cleaning up on this one would be huge for them.
Ooh, looking to do a little bit more damage, but they'll be content with the first knock, and they do have their backs to the blue, so need to be careful. The zone is going to hurt pretty significantly here, especially as stage 4 starts to come on through. It's going to be unresable, so you have to get on the road. Al-Ula taking shots from an off angle. They're a team that hasn't crossed the river yet, hasn't made their way through, but is going to try and put pressure on the back lines. For Yangon, they're going to have to play on as 3 now with that knock coming through. I was looking at where Tiamba as well were playing, given, as you said, they were in that top 3. They're in a really sticky spot on the south side for Tiamba. I think their fight through is going to be maybe the hardest at the moment in the lobby. We'll have to wait and see if they're able to make it work as Yangon Galacticos get out of there, get into the next zone, and they wait for this next circle.
Yeah, Go bailed on the fight. You can see them pulling back down towards the south side. Dopeness caught line of sight from the ridge as well onto Yangon, and it's Al-Ula that are coming up around the back. That's the shift on the zone, though, pulling away, going back down south.
Wolf,
all right, make fair bit of water as well, cutting off a lot of the play space you've actually got. The longer this one goes, John.
Yeah, I was looking at Tiamba, as I said before, and I feel like this is seemingly what I kind of thinking they should be doing here. Moving over to the south coast, may be able to swim across later on. A lot of teams that have already committed to the north side are going to be fighting for the hills around that E-Arena position where Goat have just moved on into. This is going to be the focus for so many teams. So I feel like Tiamba, they're looking to play for a 3rd place, but they have taken a knock on the back there. And this rotation is under threat, under danger. Eren is waiting for someone else to step forward to say, I've got the shot, before they go for that spray. But Tiamba, if they could find cover on that south coastline, I feel like they might have a chance of getting fairly deep into this one.
A lot of movement as well. Yangon trying to advance quite quickly. It was AGAL that had angles onto him. Unfortunately for Eagle, going down to the zone has resulted in his demise, so he's cut out of the lobby. Maple also hit from the sideline. Dopeness very far back, but with good line of sight onto them. So they're just peppering to make it uncomfortable for these squads. Goat might be tested by the wraparound from Alula as well, John. This is heating up now.
Yeah, a lot of teams crunching in. AGAL on the north side will have to face off against Dopeness, as you said. Yangon just beyond them. And they are now within nade range. So we get a little replay from... Oh, he's knocked himself with the deployable cover flare there. That is not good news for the Wolves. That's going to slow them down a little bit on the replay. I missed that one, but there we go. Sometimes it happens. It is a danger. He's going to get run down as well. The front bumper to take him out. The Wolves are going to chime back in, though, with look at the damage pouring in on the Elim feed there. Goodness me, the Wolves want vengeance.
Yeah, this is getting messy, John. You had this back and forth game of nade badminton going on. I thought they were able to thread it through the window, but it's a near miss. The Flower H stays alive, and that's at the detriment of Yangon.
View, nade over the top, trying to get the distance, but not quite there. And this is the difficulty. They can't really take fights on two fronts, and Lufa able to expose one angle against AGAL. And now he moves forwards with a shotgun in hand. XZZ wants to find an answer, doesn't get the full knock, has the shotgun, but he's on a sliver of HP now, and another nade might just be all is needed. The healing desperately important for them. Across the road is Romeo now on his last legs, and AGAL are suffering.
Dopeness pushed up hard from the backside as well, got into a good position to command respect on what they've realized is now two very weak squads. So if they can steal away points, it'll be magnificent for them. Smile falls for Yangon as well, leaving them with only one solo player left alive in a horrific position to attempt to defend. Fury are going out, joining 721 GS, so two squads now gone.
They are out of there already. We're down to 14, those recall towers shut off, meaning no players can jump back into the fight. More deployable cover. Don't look, Wolves, don't look. It's fine, it's not on top of you. You'll be okay. They managed to get all the way out to the west side there. They had a tricky approach, and they're showing the scars of it as well, playing now on as two players alive. This east side will be chill for about the next 30 seconds, maybe, once RRQ settle themselves down and lose their player on the east edge. But with this circle, it's gonna have to get trickier again. This has been so nasty for the teams out in the east to be able to make their way through. They have been on the brunt of these circle shifts.
Non-ship getting a bit of a look down towards the road. Meanwhile, amongst all this, we've seen another play coming out from Goat. Killer Joe loves these early scraps. We've seen him be a bit of an explosive entry for the team. If he can open up a potential play onto his squad, he'll go for it every time. 4 elims just tied to him. They did lose out on Foops, man. There's a nice back and forth between Foops and Killer Joe and how they play off each other, but you've still got a ton of talent left alive on this roster. If you know anything about Go John as well, they're going to be gunning for a big victory here. If they can start it off with a nice bit of energy, feed the hot hand, they play with that throughout the whole day.
I mean, it would be a great start for them. A team that was in the contest to jump up in a top 5, a direct qualification spot. They want to prove to everyone at home, to their fans, to themselves maybe even as well, that they do deserve one of those spots, and here's the place to do it. Another knock over the top from a nade from Goat, doing damage. Suffering across a lot of different teams right now with nades flying back and forth. A close proximity engagement is not favorable. Irina were under pressure from Dopeness, but they handled it. Seems like they're doing okay. Mormon does get flushed away though, and hang on a minute, Irina may not be able to handle the pressure because Goat and AGAL looking to rock up all at the same time. 4 teams now on spot, and Dopeness up on high, taking shots, laying down the lead.
Oh mate, sweating bullets on the push in. Panic stations, and they just can't compose themselves to slay the Goat. Thankfully, Kenji with the sacrificial nade bounces it out the window and hits that one on top of Moxie to leave them down with only a duo in position to attempt to fight here. Awkward collection of players all amongst each other.
Chicken pela. Yar.
Tourniquet, nade, cooking. Doesn't quite know. 7 do go down to Geekay. That southwest side is clean. Spicker moving on out. Spiker around the corner.
Goats
will be able to hold it for one. Moxie down, but will be resable.
Dangerous scenes though, E-Arena. They can smother blood in the water. They'll commit on the peak, spam into the smoke. They had a rough idea of the angle, and the bullets will find their target. Amongst all this, Alula have been scrapping up against Ulf.
Quick. Wanted to keep the pressure on. Ulf have been shredded down time and time again. It's just Eren remaining the star player on the roster. I don't think you can call him young blood anymore. Tiamba did manage to get across the river in the meantime as well, Jackie, and they're on 8 elims. They've got 3 players alive. They're not looking too shabby right now. And they have an oversight onto this fight. If they can spot Alola on this roll-up, Eren may be able to take 1 or 2 of them down, and they may be able to shred the backlines, but it's getting away from them. The pace of Alola just a little bit too much for them.
Is the operative term as well, right? We've seen them be quite passive in situations where they have had advantages before back in the group stage, and that was a problem for them. So the fact here they're willing to actually take some of these encounters a bit more headstrong. It's good to see. Zone crunching in there again as well.
Top of the Wolves. They're on the north side. Their 2 players remaining as Yangon Galacticos finally go down. The early powerhouses of the Elim feed starting to wane now. Yangon Galacticos go not quite going to stay the course. But Tiamba have a big opportunity here on that south side. If they can push past Eren, get control of the hilltops.
3 men के साथ
their major competitor on that south, on that southeast side.
ULF का एक बंदा उनके लेफ्ट में है, शायद उनको पता नहीं है।
Tiamba starting their swimtation
मार
as well
सकती है ऊपर से क्योंकि गीक के पास पूरा व्यू होगा। ULF वाले का भी और Tiamba का भी। लेकिन ULF यहाँ से खत्म।
Yeah, Geeke looking for the shots from the high ground, but not quite going to land in time. And now the rest of Tiamba can look to suppress the position from the back lines. Allow the push forwards. But Milu also under threat from range, but Alola chime in to keep Tiamba safe.
No, Geek का no.
Nice little assist, and there's the off-angle QZ. Masterful hold.
That's really nice. Big response, made it so uncomfortable for Geeke here as well, so they can safely get out of the water now and look to try and splash back on this.
Tiamba push कर रही है।
QZZ, amped up
Geek
today.
के पीछे cover ready हो चुका है, Geek का एक चौथा बंदा जो है वो आ गया cover
Both
के
of
लिए।
his teammates down in the drink. He needed to be able to hit those
No
shots.
elimination भाई।
Alola with the little
अच्छा,
assist
लेकिन gold
to keep.
फिर भी अभी ऊपर। लेकिन position point तो ले गई है भाई। Tiamba position point तो खा गई।
Players safe. But Tiamba's going to get a lot stronger, Jackie. At the moment, it's quite timorous because of the position of Geeke, but that is going to be pushed out by the zone.
Still, ये भाई survive कर रही है यार, अच्छी बात है।
Milu responds again.
क्या
The fight
कर
does
रहा है भाई?
continue
क्या
between the
कर
two
रहा है ये?
sides, taking casualties amongst each
Quick
other.
भाई।
Whilst Alula are fighting E-Arena from range. We cut back over to the POV of Tiamba. QZZ, the off angle towards the back, been doing great work. Cover flares coming in as well to try and bolster that defense for Geeke.
Top पर तो बैठा है with 10 eliminations with placement point.
Put themselves right on the edge of this zone and maybe try and wait it out. Wait out the bleed down, but there comes the Wolves with a cheeky thread on an angle across the zone there. Right through the valley, and Kevin now has a little bit of trouble. Geeke are low. They don't really have the sight lines. This is an opportunity for Tiamba to actually move forward and maybe look for the res, but it's still such a risk. I don't think they're going to go for it here, Jackie.
Have all the information they need to make the call. Meanwhile, though, Alula going big on the peak. Wolves thought they were safe, thought they had an opportunity to third party, steal some elims from across the game here, but no. Alula rock up onto them. The elims job playing very differently right now.
Yeah, that's what you need to be doing here with those 8 elims, with all 4 of their players alive. The only team to have the full squad in action. This is the last chance as we're on board with Tiamba to get this res. I don't think it's going to happen. He will bleed out, so Tiamba playing with 2. That's pretty nasty. They did have an opportunity to move forwards and maybe take more control here. Geeke helped out by the zone again as Noxian Red Force on the north side get cut in across the road from everything.
NS भाई
Alula going to have to move as Arena.
Last time भाई अच्छा खेल रही भाई back to back check क्यों से बाहर है ना?
Shots from the side.
Unpredictable भाई वो. Knock finish.
That's easy. Tizzy, good work done with the org.
Yeah,
saw the reposition from Tony K, setting up the vehicle, so they'll take the scrap to him. That's a 3-man squad there. Like, set up a bad position to be in as well with the shift on the zone. And they clean up, find the follow-up onto Joker. So E-Arena down and out, not the Rondo masterclass that we've seen from them happening here.
No, but 11 points is still very respectable, Jackie. They will be able to put up a good start to proceedings. Guaranteed they're on the front page. The question is who's going to join them.
अच्छा व्यू लेके बैठे लेकिन जोन दोनों को जाना है एनएस के पास एज भले ही है
shots ring out
लेकिन
continuing to put pressure on Geeke.
Tiamba को जोन
We're
जाना है
struggling to march forwards.
वो भी एज पे बैठा है
don't have vehicles to their name. They are really still just waiting on Geeke to have to move, and that is the first indicator that they are going for it. They should know that there's only 2 players over there. And Tiamba can start to move forwards now, and I need them to be able to do that, right? Something that we were criticizing them for was being a little bit timid, being a little bit shy. And so now, stepping forwards at the right time, that's what they need to be doing, and it looks like that's what Miu's gone for. As the rest of the teams joust across the zone, Alula have to descend on one side of the hill or the other. The question is, which do you choose?
खेल जाएंगे क्योंकि इनके पास हाई रिज है, सभी व्यू मिलेगा इनको.
The zone coming in. Alula on the rocks, being peppered down from Nonshin Red Force. It's keeping them very weak, making it uncomfortable for the hard commit on the wrap, but eventually they've got to push up. They'll be somewhat exposed here as well. If they're aligned in their crosshairs, they could punish. Thankfully, the Geo providing just enough cover for them to tuck in. Tiamba touched on it before. When does that change? That mindset going to come alive? Because if they don't start to get a bit of a periphery scan on the go here, you could have Alula wrap in around the back, possibly put pressure onto them. Just remove them from the equation before they even try and make a move for themselves.
They really can't move until Ragnarok does either, which is the nasty thing for them. It is causing a lot of problems. Redistro ammo for Tiamba, and Alula not going to push too far forwards. They know that the angles from Nongshim are still going to be in action. And they can't afford to overpeak to get a little bit too bold because they have got their numbers advantage. They don't want to let it go to waste. Can open it onto Tiamba, could open up their south rotate, and with the circle pushing towards them, that's going to help out nicely. But Nongshim look to strike to open the door, but they're crossing of the road and bring Alula back down to 3 with them.
Ragnarok zone se kha gaya, wo zone se mar jayega.
Bated breath for a lot of our players right now.
Knowing
how close they are to potentially kicking off the survival stage with a big point injection if they can take this chicken dinner. Add potentially a few more immolations to it as well. Milu and QZZ still scared about what could be coming out if there's angles watching their weight. Nonshin have had a good understanding of the rapid Alula as well. So the minute they pop out from behind that rock, there's not really much cover on the rundown.
Some really nice elim counts for a lot of our teams moving forwards. Tiamba getting that res could prove to be crucial. The knock sent towards Alula, allowing them a little bit more mobility. The lack of sightlines from Alula, not quite controlling. They just lost another one. R3B on the back, really not going to be resable either. This is going to be a very difficult dash, and Nongshim will read into this. They're moving out already to try and control the ground around them and get across the road into some sense of security. But it is so few and far between. Everybody operating in inches right now, Jackie. There is no grander dimension on these really close quarter scenarios. Step one way too far, one step either side, and it's a completely different story. But that is a big pickup on the Nongshim to bring them down to 2 to stop their third player regrouping onto the south.
Every team starting to lose a lot of the battle of attrition here as we get towards the fine margins of this game, like you say. Oh, Kike is well spotted out. Yasser with a reposition. The eyes lighting up for Tiamba, but knowing now the pressure's going to be put on them from Alula on the hillside. Never gets any easier, John.
Using those nades to create potholes moving forward, steps up for the flush. Now Alula can commit to trying to hold this high ground and try and use its position, the geometry, to maybe get a pick, but they're just not quite finding it. They're starting to wane now. There's Nongshim gonna try and bear the brunt of it, but down go Alula, and a knock already over towards Nongshim gives Tiamba a big chance here.
Tiamba no more. They start to play with confidence, knowing that they can take the fight to Nonshin Red Force. The squad really surprised. We're so far down the standings, back in the group stage. Let's see if they can kick it off here in survival with a big chicken dinner and assert dominance in the lobby. It's not going to be so easy for Nonshin as the nade blows them away. And Tiamba take the opening game of the survival stage.
That is how you change your story. Tiamba with a huge opener. They played from that south side. They read that they couldn't get across that river nice and early. They played on the south coast, a little bit of a bet hedger, but they did manage to get across the river. They transitioned at the right time. They moved at the right time, and that is the change I wanted to see. The question will be, can they keep it going for 11 more matches and keep that pace going? Nongshim Red Force as well, really well held on that north side. The angles that they were maintaining, they knew what they were doing, and it reads into what we were saying about them before, that strategic masterclass that we desperately want to see them moving forwards. They were, again, another team in the conversation for top 5 during their group stage. They were pushed aside just about. It was very, very close, and in a very, very difficult group for them to try and make it, but nice, solid performance coming through from Nongshim. A lot of the teams that were late into that game had a lot of elims as well, which means that nobody going home empty-handed.
Yeah, we can have a bit of a listen in as well and see what they were saying for themselves here.
Lovely arc on the nade. Keeping things nice and tight with it. Didn't even need to peek through. That earlier knock from Alula onto one of the Nongshim Red Force players as well, immediately before going out. That really was an assist in those final moments. But Tiamba, they kept their heads down when they needed to. We knew they could do that, but they also stepped up when they needed to. So I'm thrilled that they're able to take this first one.
Yeah, no, it's nice to see, right? Because we were saying before, they looked good, at least in terms of how they were approaching some of these games. But I think it was